Sabrina 70s comic issue 33. Sabrina asks Hilda what she's reading, and Hilda's love struck by a male celebrity I never heard of. She says that somehow he's the only mortal she really digs, and she wants to conjure him up for a date. She sure is arrogant to think that'll work out. Unless she also plans on brainwashing him. Sabrina tells her that's stupid and encourages her to ask the mailman out for a date, as he's single and Hilda always liked him. So he's not the only mortal she digs. I guess Sabrina's slang finally rubbed off on her. Sabrina suggests inviting the mailman in for a cup of tea. I'm guessing it won't end well. If this was the sitcom, it could actually be allowed to last for a couple of episodes. They let Zelda date Mr. Kraft for a while, and he was a jerk. Why can't you get a nice boyfriend? Oh yeah, because she doesn't stop using her magic. She picks him up and asks for a cup of tea with him right away, when he still has letters to deliver. He of course isn't interested and runs away. And Sabrina asks what happened somehow, and Hilda blames her and plans to go with her original idea, not learning a thing. Sabrina says, "It never seems to work out right when you zap up magic just for herself." Is she actually learning? But if she did take in the lesson, she'd never do that again. And they'd have to focus on the multitude of other witches in her family. So actually it doesn't have to end the series. The story ends with Hilda being unhappy for some reason after she summons the celebrity to her house with her broomstick. Was it realistic for him to say darned instead of damned? It was just the 70s, but he's still an adult. But this is funnier. In the comedy page, Harvey yells some insults when there's nobody home. And when Sabrina points this out, he says, "I know that. Do you think I'm crazy?" It was actually smart of him to not say that to Hilda's face. It's amusing of him to call her a battle axe. In the next story, a teacher tells Harvey that he should be focusing on his book report, not daydreaming. And he can't concentrate on it with her around because she's too pretty. It's kind of interesting that there's a Harvey story. It got my attention. It's smart of Harvey to keep this to his thoughts. Considering how stupid he usually is, that's impressive. After his class ends, he's dumb enough to be honest with Sabrina about this. A good boyfriend would let her think he was talking about her. I liked that moment. He's like, "How do you expect me to think of food when I'm in love?" And she's like, "How sweet! I'm very flattered that you love me, Harvey, but we should eat." Instead, he tells her the truth. Well, better than being a liar, I guess. What kind of a real name is Cupcake? Having it be spelled wrong doesn't justify it. Sabrina's upset that he's in love with the substitute teacher. I love how the writer established that she's a substitute to explain how this never came up before and will be only one story. Harvey says that Sabrina means something to him, but it's not the real thing. Sabrina says that she's much too old for him, and he says that age makes no difference. If he had any common sense, he'd know she's not allowed to date him anyways. So it does make a difference. She says that she's old enough to be his mother, and just has a lot of makeup on. And somehow Harvey thinks he's mature for his age, and thinks it's a good idea to let her know how he feels about her. Sabrina warns him what's gonna happen, and he calls her a nice kid condescendingly who will meet someone else. She should. It's a shame this is what the story's about. Rather than Sabrina just letting things play out the natural way and letting Harvey be humiliated, she uses magic to make the teacher look old. So he thinks he has to have his eyes checked. Why did she say that's nice? Harvey begs for Sabrina's forgiveness, and she says that if he buys her lunch, she might reconsider it. At least she's really loyal to him, aside from using magic to mess with his life. In the sitcom, he got fed up with Sabrina for that, which is a realistic deconstruction at this point. There's a comedy page where Hilda looks relatively nice because she's gonna wear a new gown to the ball, and Harvey somehow insults her figure right in front of her, causing Hilda to warp him to an island. In the next comedy page, Sabrina says that she wants to look her best for Harvey tonight. I'm glad she normally wears a headband. The story ends with all of the work Sabrina did being pointless for the date itself, because they went to a place that was completely dark. Wouldn't the candle not make them silhouettes though? It lightened things up a little, and he still must have seen her before they got to the table, and he'd see her after they left. There's also a brief story that's literally just Hilda missing the ball at tennis over and over, and then the punchline is that she was talking to the automatic ball machine. In the next comedy page, Hilda asks where all these magazines came from, and Sabrina said she got some because someone was selling them to work his way through college. Hilda wishes that she would just say no, and tells her to say no to whatever the door-to-door salesman's offering. She buys stuff from him anyways because he guilt trips her. In the next story, Zelda shows up again after I was wondering why she was absent for so long. Not even an explanation about why she was gone. At least Archie Sonic explained why Rhoda was absent for a while. Hilda says that could be a rare find, and Zelda says that she's gonna try and sell it to the museum. Zelda says that she found an Egyptian statue in the town dump for some reason. Why was it not in Egypt? I guess it was stolen from a museum and then hidden there. Harvey asks why she's carrying it on a string and wonders if it's because it's dirty, as I'm just glad he's talking to Zelda for a change. That's sad. Predictably, Zelda explains that the statue has a curse on it. So was it in the dump because it was found by some other witches and got rid of it? Zelda explains that anyone who touches the statue will have bad luck. So that's why it got thrown out apparently. Harvey laughs and makes fun of them for believing in the statue's bad luck. Oh, I'm sure he doesn't believe in anything stupid. He touches the statue jokingly, and says that Zelda and Hilda are probably afraid to walk under ladders. Well, I can see where that came from, because if someone closes the ladder while you're under it, or the ladder breaks, you'll get hurt. It's kind of common sense not to do that. Somehow, you can say some silly gibberish words 3 times fast to ward off the curse. Why would the curse have an antidote? Won't the witch who made that curse have himself be immune? Wouldn't a witch be able to just undo the curse? Maybe the curse maker was a really powerful witch, or more likely a group of spiteful mortal-hating witches. I guess they want to cure his curse so that Sabrina won't be bothered by it. Harvey stupidly doesn't follow Zelda's advice just in case the rug slips out from under him. He still doesn't believe in the curse, so Hilda zaps up a mummy to scare him up a tree. I love Hilda's clever line to Sabrina. His mummy was looking for him. And fortunately, Harvey is smart enough to say the magic words. I thought it was a deal where if you didn't say the magic words right away, it'd be too late. That'd be common sense to put in the curse. Why would the curse even have a way to get out of it programmed into it? The first story is about Hilda being rejected when she asked out a mailman, and then summoning the celebrity tour that she originally wanted, but we don't get to see her date with him or see him reject her, because her time was wasted by the mailman rejecting her instead. Since when is Hilda desperate for a date in this comic? The second story has Harvey get a crush on a substitute teacher, and the most unrealistic thing ever happens, because he actually tells his girlfriend about it, unprovoked, and she's loyal enough not to break up with them. Instead of letting things happen naturally, she makes his teacher look elderly, temporarily, and then takes him back. It sure was nice of Sabrina to not let him tell the teacher about his crush on her and get his heart broken, even after he was mean to her. And it's better for Harvey to be honest with Sabrina than be dishonest. But wouldn't he see her up close again and be really confused? After a story where Hilda does nothing but miss tennis balls and they don't even hit her, so there's no point, the final story is about Zelda finding a cursed statue in the dump, planning on selling it to a museum, and instead of us seeing her get the money, even for one panel, the story ends before that could happen, and Harvey just wastes much of her time making fun of her for believing in curses, after all the crazy supernatural stuff that's happened in his life. So Hilda summons a mummy to scare him even more, saying a clever pun because of it. I was glad Zelda showed up again, but it should have been explained that she keeps going on vacations, and it was in a role that Ambrose could have filled instead. Hilda could have been the one to find this statue. You don't have to have Zelda be out of focus just to give Hilda more sympathetic moments. You can have both of them be sympathetic, and Hilda just does it less. I don't understand how Ambrose showed up way more often than Zelda, and yet Ambrose never showed up in the 90s show.